Hey fight fans. Imagine growing up in the harsh mountains of Dagestan, where wrestling isn't a hobby, it's survival. Where legends like Khabib Nurmagomedov didn't just win fights, they built an empire. But now, in 2025, that empire is evolving. Islam Makhachev is chasing gold in a new division, Umar Nurmagomedov is bouncing back from his first setback, and a new wave of Dagestani warriors is rising. This isn't just MMA, it's a revolution. Stick around as we dive into the unstoppable force from Dagestan that's changing the game forever. You're watching Prime Bio? Hit that subscribe button if you're ready for more epic stories. They come from the mountains, raised on discipline, shaped by tradition, and hardened by struggle. The world may have just learned their names, but in Dagestan, their legends were already being written long before the UFC's bright lights found them. It all started with one man who carried a nation on his back, and never let it fall. Khabib Nurmagomedov didn't just join the UFC, he took it over. A quiet fighter with the calm of a man who didn't need to yell to be heard. From his first fight he was different. No trash talk, no show, just pure control. He didn't just beat his opponents, he broke them. 29 fights, 29 wins, no losses. He made top fighters look ordinary, taking them down and overwhelming them like it was personal. The biggest moment? UFC 229. Khabib vs. Conor McGregor. The most heated rivalry in MMA. Conor talked big, insulted Khabib's family and tried to get in his head. But when the fight started, Khabib silenced him. He took Conor down, wore him out and made him tap. Then chaos broke out after the fight, but to many it wasn't just a brawl. It was years of built-up anger, loyalty to family, and a culture where respect means everything. But Khabib's story wasn't just his own. He was paving the way for others. Fighters from the same mountains trained the same way. And that brings us to his protege Islam Makhachev. Khabib's student, close friend, and former UFC lightweight champion. Islam grew up learning from Khabib and his father, Abdulmanap. Quiet but deadly, Islam doesn't need to shout, his skills speak for him. With sharp wrestling and smart fighting, he climbed the ranks, beating greats like Charles Oliveira and Alexander Volkanovski. He held the belt Khabib once did, not just keeping the title but keeping the legacy alive. And that legacy just got even stronger. Back in June 2024 at UFC 302, Islam defended his belt in a grueling war against Dustin Poirier. It wasn't easy, Poirier brought everything he had. But in the fifth round, Islam proved why he was the champ. He locked in a tight Darce choke, forcing Poirier to tap. That was his third title defense and extended his UFC win streak to 14, surpassing even Khabib's famous run. The student didn't just follow the teacher, he went further. Fast forward to 2025. On January 18th at UFC 311, Islam faced Renato Moicano in another title defense and submitted him, solidifying his dominance. But Islam isn't stopping at lightweight. He's making a bold move up to welterweight, challenging the champion Jack Della Maddalena for the title at UFC 322 on November 15, 2025, at Madison Square Garden in New York City. This could be historic. Islam aiming to become a two-division champ. Will he conquer 170 pounds and extend his winning streak, which has now lasted over 9 years? The hype is real, and sources say this super fight deserves the biggest card of the year. Now, people are buzzing about potential dream matchups. Ilia Topuria, the former featherweight champ who vacated his title earlier this year to possibly move up, has called out Islam for a clash in 2025. Topuria's been on fire too, knocking out Max Holloway in October 2024 and then Charles Oliveira in a shocking first-round KO at UFC 317 on June 28, 2025. But with Islam at welterweight, could Topuria chase him there? Or will Topuria face someone like Paddy Pimblett or Justin Gaethje next? If Islam versus Topuria happens, it won't just be about winning, it'll be legacy versus hunger. Who do you think comes out on top? Drop your predictions in the comments. Then comes Umar Nurmagomedov, Khabib's cousin. Undefeated for so long, fast, strong and smart. He's not just another fighter, he's expected to be a champion. Umar fights like he's already the best, mixing strong takedowns with sharp striking. He was rising fast, including a big win over Corey Sandhagen on August 3, 2024, at UFC on ABC 7. But even the best can face setbacks. On January 18, 2025, at UFC 311, Umar suffered his first defeat against bantamweight champ Merab Dvalishvili. It was a close, tough fight, a grueling 5-rounder where Merab's relentless pace edged out the decision, 48-47 across the board from most judges. A hard loss but an important lesson. No champion stays unbeaten forever. Now Umar is coming back stronger. After recovering from injuries, he's set to face Mario Bautista on October 25, 2025, at UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi. A pivotal bantamweight scrap on a stacked card headlined by Curtis Blaydes vs Tom Aspinall. For Umar, this isn't just about winning again. It's about proving that real champions aren't defined by never losing, but by how they fight back after a loss. Bautista's on a hot streak and thinks a win here gets him a title shot, but Umar's camp is fired up. Tensions are high, with Merab even trash-talking Umar ahead of this bout. Can Umar bounce back and reclaim his path to the top? Or will Bautista derail the hype train? Why Dagestan? Why are these fighters so good? Because in Dagestan, fighting isn't just a sport, it's a way of life. Kids learn wrestling before they're even in school. Discipline comes before fun. From freezing morning runs to tough gyms with strict coaches, Dagestani fighters grow up strong, humble, and hungry. They don't fight for fame, they fight for their people. When they win, it's not just for themselves, it's for their villages, their families, and their teammates who pushed them to be great. And it's not just these three anymore. The UFC is full of Dagestani talent rising fast. Magomed Ankalaev is gunning for the light heavyweight title, potentially rematching Alex Pereira at UFC 320 on October 4, 2025. Shamil Gaziev in heavyweight, Tager Yulambikov in flyweight, and even Khabib Nurmagomedov, who won a unanimous decision over Marc-Andre Barriault on July 26, 2025, at UFC on ABC 9, earning Fight of the Night honors. Outside the UFC, in Bellator and One Championship, Dagestani fighters are breaking records too. Some say their style is boring, too much wrestling, not enough striking. But real fans know better. Dagestani fighters don't just use strength, they use skill. Control, pressure, perfect timing, it's like a violent chess match. Every move has a purpose, and they never lose their cool. Now, the world is watching again. Islam Makhachev could become a two-division king by defeating Jack Della Maddalena at UFC 322. A win would prove he's one of the all-time greats. Meanwhile, Umar's fight against Bautista at UFC 321 could set him up for a title shot if he dominates. And with new names emerging from the mountains, every fight feels like another chapter in a story that began with Khabib, and continues with a team that doesn't just train together, but lives and fights for each other. This isn't luck. It's a system. And it's not stopping. Some say John Jones is the best ever. Others say Georges St-Pierre or Anderson Silva. But ask a kid in Dagestan and they'll say Khabib. Because to them, greatness isn't about flashy knockouts, it's about legacy, respect, and heart. Khabib retired at 29-0 not because he couldn't fight anymore, but because he promised his mother. And in Dagestan, a promise to your family means more than any title. So what's next? Will Islam capture welterweight gold? Will Umar rise to bantamweight champion? Will Ankalaev dethrone Pereira? Dagestan has already changed MMA. Now the question is, can anyone stop them? What do you think, fight fans? Who should Islam fight after Della Maddalena? Maybe a super fight with Topuria? And which Dagestani fighter will be the next UFC champion? Let us know in the comments below. If you loved this deep dive into the Dagestani dominance, smash that like button, subscribe to Prime Bio for more powerful MMA stories, fighter bios, and breakdowns. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We've got exclusive insights coming your way. Thanks for watching, and remember, in MMA legends aren't born, they're forged in the mountains. Peace out.